Today we're talking about the butterfly effect and how sometimes we put a lot of effort into doing something, and then whatever we were planning to do doesn't really actually achieve as much results as something that's really quite random. For example, let's say that I plan a vacation and I'm going to go visit somebody and we're going to go do something awesome. And we make this plan, we figure it all out, we think it through, we put all this effort and thought into how we're going to make this vacation epic and great. And then for some reason, it just doesn't work out. They're not available. And now suddenly all this planning that I've put effort into is for nothing. And then I'm just talking to somebody else I know and I say, oh, hey, I guess I'm not gonna go on this trip like I thought I was gonna go. And then they say, oh, hey, I'm doing this or that thing. You want to come along or something like that. And then I say, all right, sure. Sounds good. And now maybe I go off and I go do something different. But the interesting thing is I wouldn't probably have had that conversation with that other person if I didn't go through the motions of making other plans first. So even if my original plans fell through, they still resulted in unintended side effects. Something happened because I made those plans, which wouldn't have happened if I would not have put the effort in. And life is filled with lots and lots of examples of things like this, where we try to be in control of our lives. We try to do things that we want to do. We try to pursue our interests. We try to pursue all different sorts of relationships and business endeavors and all sorts of things. And then a lot of the time when we look back, we'll realize that what brought us to where we ended up is actually stuff that we didn't put any effort into. We didn't really chase it. We didn't really necessarily seek it actively. We didn't even necessarily see it coming. And it just happened. It happened along the way as part of this journey that we've been on as we went about our business. And it wouldn't have happened if we didn't try to do our own thing, if we didn't make plans and then have those plans fail, if we didn't chase things and then have those things we chase get away, if we didn't have those initial quests that we head off on, then we wouldn't have wound up in the position to do the things we wound up doing along the way when we got there. But the things that we thought we were going to be doing usually weren't the things that actually had the biggest impact on our journey. This is very interesting because it proves that while we do have control in our lives to give consent to what we accept, what we sign on for, we don't really have a lot of control over getting to where we want to go. We don't really have as much capacity to craft the outcome as we think we do. We tend to think that we're self-made. We think that the harder you try, the more effort you put in, the more you're going to get in return. But life is a lot more like a multiple choice, sort of a merry-go-round of options. We get options set before us, and we can choose whether we're going to embrace those or pass on them. But we don't really create as much of our destiny as we think we do. The butterfly effect is the general concept that even the fluttering of a butterfly's wings could be enough to somehow alter the course of enormous events. Maybe just the tiny bit of wind that a butterfly exerts with its wings flapping would create a tiny bit of a breeze, which somehow affects some other nearby creature, and so forth, so on. And maybe the butterfly wings disturb an ant, and the ant goes in a different direction than it would have otherwise gone, and then winds up your pants, and then you are the unwitting recipient of a bug crawling on you that wouldn't have been there if a butterfly didn't flap its wings in just that specific way at that specific moment. And then you cut your picnic short and you go somewhere else, and then you're in a different place, and maybe you would have got into a car accident or something, and you didn't because you left the picnic early, and then you go on and you do great things with your life, and you meet your spouse, and you have a legacy, and they go on and they found a country that takes over the world or something, and it all wouldn't have happened if it weren't for some random bug crawling around at a certain time 150 years ago. I don't know. But there is a lesson to be learned from this thought process, that we're not really in control of our lives as much as we think. There's a certain comfort that can come from knowing this, because if so much of life winds up being random, then why do we put so much emphasis on pressuring ourselves to feel like we're not good enough, or feeling like it's a tragedy if things don't go our way? Sometimes the best blessing you could possibly have is something not going your way. So we should have patience to feel like life is good, even if it doesn't go our way. We should be open to unexpected detours, and we should embrace the idea that there's a certain providence at work. So even if things don't appear to work out the way we wanted them to, that doesn't mean that they still can't work out quite well. And even if we do meet misfortune, that doesn't necessarily mean that there isn't going to be a positive side effect or outcome that will make itself manifest indirectly as a result. History is filled with stories of people who were meeting terrible ends, great tragedies of history, which also led to unprecedented tales of glory and prosperity and success to follow. Look at the bombing of cities with nuclear bombs in World War II. If you looked at Hiroshima, you would have seen this terrible city, post-apocalyptic hellscape of destroyed city and destroyed life right after the war. But if you look at a picture of that city today, It's amazingly modern and successful and extremely progressive, in large part because of the terrible things that happened in the past. Now, that doesn't mean that we should look at terrible events and celebrate them. But if flowers can grow from the rotting remains of someone or something that perished, then why not focus on the flowers instead of always being disappointed by the decay? If there's something good to be found in every circumstance, then why not focus on the something good? At a minimum, your life winds up being happier and better if you do this. And if you're ultimately not 100% in control of your life anyway, then wouldn't it make sense to trust providence and not be so worried if things don't go your way? Just listen to the voice of the universe. Let it unfold as it will. If something's meant to be, then it happens. If it's not meant to be, it doesn't. And if something doesn't go your way, then that's just the universe letting you know there's a different path for you to take. Doesn't mean that you have a lesser path. It doesn't mean that you can't still have an amazing experience on life's adventure. It's kind of like playing a adventure game. You go off to do a quest, and then along the way you pick up other quests because you just find these NPCs. They give you quests, and next thing you know, you've totally forgotten that original quest that you started because you've picked up a different one. And along the way, you found a completely new adventure, one that you didn't plan, but it's not lesser, it's just different. And that's the fun of questing. Maybe you don't finish the one you started off to do today. Maybe you find another story to go be part of. And maybe that story is even better than the first one. Wherever your journey takes you, very best of luck on your adventure. Thank you for watching.